With the recent release of Joker Folie, Deux, otherwise known as Arthur the sequel, we got a movie that definitely decided to take some creative liberties with Joker's origin, and also with the film's predecessor. If I had to give this film my best review, I would say its downfall were the musical numbers breaking the tone of the movie and taking the viewer out of it altogether, and also just the premise of the film being released at all took me out of it. I love the open-ended conclusion of the first film, so a second movie being made in and of itself ruins the conclusion of the first one for me. But probably the most controversial aspect of this film, that personally I didn't mind as much as some others, was how this movie concluded. Was it open-ended like the first movie? You can say that, but not in the same way. Where the first one left us wondering if anything in that movie actually happened or not, the second film concluded with us knowing what happened before, but wondering what will happen in the future, or most so, who will happen in the future. You see, the movie ended with one of the most popular Joker theories coming true, that Arthur Fleck was never supposed to be the Joker, and was instead the inspiration for the Joker. Throughout the movie, they kept on showing this one prisoner with Joker in the psych ward for some reason without him ever amounting to have a role in the movie. By the end of the movie though, after Harley Quinn has gone on her own way and Arthur has publicly stated in court that he is not the Joker, it was time for this Reddit theory to shine, as the patient at the psych ward tells Arthur a joke, stabs him to death, starts laughing, and cuts his mouth to do what we assume Heath Ledger did in the Dark Knight films.
Let's put a smile on that face.
I'm not saying he's Heath Ledger, but we'll actually see. We'll talk about that later. So this conclusion left me and many others wondering which version of the Joker is the psychopath who killed Arthur Fleck supposed to be. So, welcome to Big Flick Energy, and let's discover this together. And we'll start off with running down all the potential Jokers and then some criteria they need to meet for it to be possible. We have Cesar Romero, Jack Nicholson, Heath Ledger, Cameron Monaghan, who played two versions as Jeremiah and Jerome Valeska, Jared Leto, Joaquin Phoenix, and the newest Joker from the Batman franchise, Barry Keoghan. That if you haven't seen the new Penguin TV show in the Batman universe, or what's officially known as the Batman Epic Crime Saga, I highly recommend giving it a watch. It's a great show so far. I still have to watch the newest episode. I'll also throw in 5 animated Jokers, because if I threw them all in, we would be here for hours. But since the Joker 2 starts with an animated sequence, we'll include some, and the 5 will be from Batman the Animated Series, Batman the Brave and the Bold, the new Batman Caped Crusader TV series, the DC animated movie Batman, and last but certainly not least, the Batman from the Arkham video game series. Now, a couple of criteria that will be helpful for us in figuring this out will be if the time period makes sense with the overall year, the overall look of Gotham, what we know about our Jokers from these worlds, what we know about the death of the Waynes in each of these worlds, who Harley is in these worlds at this point, and if the vibe for the new Joker makes any sense. For starters, it's obviously not Joaquin Phoenix, unless if this world decided to already get into the multiverse games, but it's 100% not him, so let's just cross him off. The actual first criterion though, timeline. Joker takes place in 1981, where Bruce Wayne is 11 years old and the new Joker is probably in his mid to late 20s to early 30s. That means any story before 1981 can be cut out entirely. So say goodbye to Cesar Romero and the Caped Crusader, which takes place before 1981. Then, unless if Michael Keaton plays a 19-year-old Batman in his own movie, Jack Nicholson isn't this Joker either, especially since we know he starts off that film as a mob boss, which this one does not. The next big talking point is us knowing exactly how Thomas and Martha Wayne were killed by a clown versus by regular criminals or mobsters in most of these other stories. So we saw exactly how it happened in The Dark Knight and no clown mask, so it's not Heath Ledger Joker, which is a relief for those of us who didn't enjoy the second Joker movie. We saw how it happened in the Gotham TV show, so both Jerome and Jeremiah are out. We sort of saw it in the DCU with a weird slow-mo version of it, provided by none other than Zack Snyder, which makes sense. And we saw no mask, so it's not Jared Leto Joker. We didn't see it in Batman the Animated Series, but we did in Justice League Unlimited, which is part of the same universe, and there was no mask there, so it's not that Joker. We saw it in Batman the Brave and the Bold, and no mask, so that's out. Then we have the Arkham games, which had a voiceover sequence where we hear what Bruce remembers but don't actually see what happens. And in that sequence, the killer mentions he wants the pearls of Martha Wayne, so it's evidently different from what happened in the Joker. But because it's purely a voiceover and could be remembered differently by a kid, I'll keep it in just in case. That leaves us with just 3 versions of the Joker: Barry Keoghan, the DC animated movie Joker, and the Arkham Joker. So this video is going much faster than I thought it initially would. Arkham would be interesting considering the games revolve around Arkham, and the second movie for the Joker takes place for the most part in Arkham. The biggest problem here is Harley. Joker takes place in 1981, Lady Gaga plays Harley. Lady Gaga's already 38 years old, but we'll give her character some leniency and say Harleen Quinzel is 30 years old at the time of Joker 2. If you go to Arkham Wiki, it claims Arkham Origins, the first of the Arkham games chronologically, takes place in 2012, and the newest story, Suicide Squad Kills the Justice League, takes place in 2028. If you do the math, and Gaga's Harley is the one in the Arkhamverse, that would make her about 77 years old when she's beating up the Justice League in the Suicide Squad game. So I 100% doubt this is her world because of that. Next, we have the DC animated movie universe, or the Tomorrowverse Joker, which has a very similar problem to the Arkham Joker, that Harley would be way too old. According to the DC animated movie wiki, the film Suicide Squad Hell to Pay, which highlights Harley in the film, takes place in October 2015, which would set Gaga Harley to be 64 by the time the movie comes around. So I would say this world is probably also out. And lastly, Barry Keoghan, probably the Joker we know the least about, which helps his case a lot here. I had mentioned in a video before the Batman came out a few years ago that Joker took place in the Batman universe, and even mentioned the Reddit theory of Arthur Fleck potentially inspiring the Joker of Pattinson's Batman universe to become the Joker. Both Thomas Waynes were running a mayoral campaign. Both Arkhams are called Arkham State Hospital instead of Arkham Asylum. Everything sounds great. The problem here, once again, is the timeline makes no sense. The Batman takes place in modern day, the Joker in 1981, meaning Robert Pattinson would have to be 50 years old for this to make any sense, given Bruce Wayne is 11 years old at the time of the first Joker movie. So, it's not the Batman universe either. So what now? Not a single Joker is the correct one. Could I continue going down the rabbit hole of every animated Joker and eventually find one with no holes? Honestly, probably not. Through even further research, the Thomas and Martha Wayne scene kills so many other worlds as well. The Batman animated show, Batman Gotham Knight, Beware the Batman, Teen Titans Go, the Telltale series, and so many others. Maybe there is one, but if it's not any of these main versions of the character, it's not really worth going through all this trouble. I doubt that Todd Phillips looked at this random animated series in 1974 that was made and decided, you know what, Arthur Fleck is going to be the inspiration for that Joker. Instead, I believe this is an entirely original version of the character that I don't believe will be tied in with James Gunn's new DCU, given how poorly it's been received and how the movie didn't get the DC intro and instead closed off just saying, in association with DC Studios. So I think Gunn is going to stay away from Joker for a little bit to give some breathing room to the character. A character that, honestly, I think has been oversaturated in the market as of late. Could he tie this Joker in? Definitely. But I don't think he'll do it. Now, maybe in the 2030s when Joker enters the public domain, I myself would create a film. But for now, I'm all Jokered out as well, so I'll hold off on writing that. I do have a script idea for a Scarecrow movie that I'm very excited to talk about at some point, and I was planning on releasing it here when we got the new Joker movie and the new Penguin TV show, but I had this idea for a video of who this Joker is because I saw a lot of people talking about it, and I thought I had to sort of shut up all the claims that it's Heath Ledger Joker. So I was happy to make this video, and the Scarecrow one will just have to wait for another day. And maybe, just maybe, it's going to be a film that eventually comes out. Rather, I think it's best that with this video, we don't talk about Joker for a while and instead move on to other clowns. So teaser for my next video, Art the Clown might be involved with the Horror Cinematic Universe's Part 2 video. You can all check out the Part 1. I was very excited to make that video considering I'm not big on horror movies, but after watching Halloween 2018, I started getting more into them. So it's a lot of fun to look into these worlds and see all the movies that I myself haven't even seen yet. But with that, thank you for watching this video. I'm sorry that we couldn't find which Joker is the right Joker, but sometimes that's a better answer than people thinking that because he cut a smile in his face that he's Heath Ledger. So, please comment down below your thoughts on if you agree this is an original Joker, your thoughts on the movie, and if you think the Joker should just chill for a couple of years. Thanks again for watching, and see you all next time on Big Flick Energy.